Hey guys, what's up? It's Law coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Law. And it has been a lightning fast day. It's been a very good Friday. I have literally no complaints to speak of, just none at all. And I'm just taking it easy. We kind of got out. The time's going by so fast. I can't even keep up with it. You know what I mean? So it's honestly like a pretty good sign. And yeah, so just taking it slow, and we're going to, connect shortly, get the car started, and just get into things at a nice slow pace and have a nice slow episode. That's really the theme of today's episode is slow. No, I'm just joking. I that doesn't mean anything. I don't know what the theme of the day's episode is. So, yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I'm just like blabbing my mouth about like a bunch of nonsense. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, we need to get ready to depart. All right. This is it, guys. Somehow the week's already gone. It was apparently like a really bad week, but it was a really great Friday. So, what can I say? I almost just like forgot to punch out there. Yeah, there we go. We're done. We're out of here. So, yeah, I don't know. Where am I at mentally? I don't know that I have a concept ready. I actually didn't even have like a real moment to listen to the previous things. Like I have the transcripts. I put one in GPT, but I never even listened to it. So sadly, we're not going to have that really nice productive back and forth that I've been doing. Sadly, we're just not going to have that. Um, so yeah, that just is what it is. I can't help it. I just can't do anything about that. Sadly, I know it's sad, but what can you do about it? What can you do? Just trying to do what I can. Just trying to do what I can. Anyways, what is there to chat about? What is there to have discourse about? I don't know. Like I said, a lot of these days they're fairly overstimulating, I guess. They're like, they're just like that. And I don't know. It's like interesting for me. But in terms of what there is to talk about now, I just it just everything. I felt like everything just flew by too quickly, and again, I never had a moment to do the reflective listening, and yeah, like that obviously it affects things. It affects things like a lot. Because I just wasn't in the right mindset to listen. So you can't force something like that. Like I couldn't force myself. I couldn't sit there and like force myself to listen, or like force myself to reflect. I also have a feeling the traffic's going to be relatively poor, so That's kind of a shame. Because I don't, at the moment, I don't feel that there is a plethora of potential for this episode. So, kind of a shame that we're likely going to have like a longer episode, but I just don't know. Nothing's really coming to mind. I know I say that a lot, but yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just start talking about myself and how I'm feeling, but that does pretty much sum it up. Like, I feel rushed. I feel like the day is already over with, it's already gone. And I tend to notice that a lot with my perception of time. It's like, wow. I mean, sometimes it just flies by so quickly, and then other times I'm like so obsessed with it. I feel like that's a trait of ADHD, but it could be other things too. I wouldn't know. I'm not a mega expert, so I just wouldn't know. But what's a shame, I guess, is earlier in the day today, I obviously had like a lot to say. I was like very verbal, very talkative, very chatty. And then we get to now, and it's just like, now I just have nothing to say at all. Like, it's just kind of an annoying situation. I could have probably went through this light, but there's not really a reason to, because like, there's no reason to skip lights most of the time, especially if there's traffic, because you're likely just not going to get anywhere. So I made a very good decision here to just stop. But anyways, yeah, my time perception can be very strange, but it is interesting, like a moment like that where I'm actually able to relax, because a lot of times I'm so fixated on the time that I don't really get that moment. Like, I don't feel that like disconnect I think most people feel, if that makes any sense. Like, I imagine most people 99% of the time they are just oblivious, like they're totally oblivious to the time, and they're missing schedules, they're getting this off, that off, this wrong, that wrong, and oh no, it's working. I was worried my mirror wasn't working. They just move silently. Guess I'm used to my other car. My old car, my Mini Cooper. If I remember correctly, like when you would move the windows, like the automatic window thing, if you would move it, there would be like a very loud like noise, but in this car it's just like dead silent. So I didn't even know that was, I didn't know that they were even moving. Yeah, I usually think I have the passenger one facing downward quite a bit, because I actually, I don't know. I guess that's just like my preference. The driver's side, though, I have the driver's side like regular. What I wanted to do is I always wanted to get a larger one for the inside of the car. I've always been pretty curious about that, but I've just never really looked into it or anything. But like an upgraded internal mirror that's like very big, I just think, I don't know why that wouldn't be the case. Like, it seems like a no-brainer for me. Just something I've thought of before. I apologize for being like dreadfully boring, but I don't know what's gotten into me. It's just like everything just happens so fast, and I feel like today, like, I talk to my coworker a lot, which, that definitely, it depletes some social stamina, because usually people are fairly, and I mean, I love the conversation, don't get me wrong. This is not, it was a very fun, I wouldn't say fun conversation, but I love conversing with people. I love to talk to people. But, I think it eats into a verbal stamina. It consumes a bit of a conversational stamina that I would have had. I mean, to have to listen to a person, to be juggling that with texting people, and also recording all the recording that I did today. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to balance, and I like it, but I think what it shows is that the show doesn't always need to be the deep topics. It can just be me talking to myself, me collecting my thoughts, and that's okay. I actually want more, like, I've said this for a while, I kind of want more joking episodes or just fun episodes, I think that would be like a good thing for the show and for me to just have more laid back stuff. It's just recently my brain, something is just not, like, something's not really, I'm not on that track. Like, I don't feel that way about what's going on. So, but yeah, like I said, of course, like, we're still going to be in quite a bit of traffic, so it's like, what is the point? Because I'm not going to be able to get much out of it. Like, it's pretty, it's a lot of time, but I don't feel that fire. I don't feel that burn to talk. Like, this whole day actually was a very good day. Like, I think I was super happy with all the recordings, and then we get to now, and it's like, I don't feel like that thrilled about it, about how things are going or whatever. Like, it's just, I just don't feel like mega thrilled. I just feel half thrilled. So it's actually good, because I mean, GPT was really hyping me up. It's claiming I'm probably in the top 99 percentile of communication, and I mean, that feels good to hear, but I wonder, like, if we include these, like, sloppier takes. I mean, this isn't even the worst of it either. I've kind of felt more of a voice recently. You've probably noticed it. Like, I've been overall pretty happy with how the past couple episodes went. They just seem to have went well, and I've had a lot of words to say and all that stuff, and it's just been a lot of good times. That's kind of my root of it. Like, and it wasn't like that for a while. For a while I just feel like there were really severe dry spots in this series, and I don't know though. Is it? Here's an interesting. Some of these questions, like, it's a shame, because I don't even know if they will get asked very often, right? Like, I'm not sure if they're gonna get asked, because, like, I don't always just punch it into the GPT, but I guess I put them in there in the hopes, I mean, maybe somebody could answer it for me, in the future. Like, in a year from now, if my channel's blown up, then people could hear these questions, GPT them, and get answers. I don't even remember what the question was. I do that so much, because there's just so much to say, and then you have to add all these extra details. So then you can't, like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't, you can't get through it all, because then I have to add in all this extra stuff, and then I can't rewind back to where I was, which is why, like I said, I actually want to look into a live transcription, which at first I didn't think I needed, but I wasn't thinking about a very important circumstance such as this current one. You know, where it's like, yeah, actually it would be mega helpful. And yeah, what is with me saying mega? It's like what is it sounds goofy. It doesn't sound very, not that it matters, but I'm just like adding mega to everything. It's well, I don't really know where it's coming from. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's true. Like, it's important to have episodes like this where, you know, I'm either not communicating as much or I can't. It's a way to decompress, it's a way to relax. I still don't really like it. I still wish I could just muscle through it and, you know, feel good about things and all that stuff, but no, I feel okay. Like, I think it's very important to have these kind of episodes, and really nobody's scoring me. I mean, I'm scoring myself kind of, but it's it's a bit much to always have to talk, you know, and there's certain times, like especially in the morning, I do just want to sit and think for stretches of time, you know. I don't want to, I'm not interested in, what am I saying? I'm not interested in just talking all the time. Like, there's certain thoughts I want to have too, or I want to think certain ways or things like that. Like, you know, it's not just, yeah, it's not just always talking. I think in the car too, it's like harder to talk in the car. Like, walking and talking, for some reason that works. And I wonder if there's a coincidence with that between, like, how to walk and talk. You know, one is done with the mouth, one is done with the feet, and they both work together in this magical unison. I mean, how is that just a coincidence? Is that some like intentional thing? I don't know. I don't know. But it is an interesting question to raise. Actually, I assume that would be the case. I mean, if you were to design a language and you have an action performed by feet and you have an action performed by a mouth, you would make both of the words similar because the root alk, A-L-K, is unifying the principle, or, you know, in this case, the action between the two, if that makes a lot of sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I think certain ways, and I realize, like, on the other side, there is no sense to it. There is no reasoning to it. It's all just a bunch of nonsense. So that's kind of funny too, because, yeah, I mean, I don't even know. You deal with like both sides of it, really. I don't think there's like a definite. There really isn't. So two, it is the end of the week. So this Friday, I think I've probably said this almost every, if not every, Friday recording. I always make this comment, and the comment is, Friday is either good, like I'm either like good and I'm happy about things, or I'm not. Like, or it's like, today, you're at the end of the week, you've already talked so much, you're kind of ready for a break. You're kind of ready, like, and I think that's what's happening now. It's like, I don't know. Think about different. If, for example, I stayed at work for longer and I had time to reflect on the GPT prompt, actually, I could probably pull up the GPT prompt now and like read it. And actually, yeah, I'm not gonna do that, but I think in the future I will, can, and should. I do think, I guess maybe we can just reflect on stuff we've already talked about. I don't know, it's just coming to my mind for some reason right now. That idea I realized about, I really think it, I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm stupid for like thinking it's as profound as it is, but again, that whole idea about like most humans just think in terms of what is. They don't think in terms of, what could be, what will be, or what should be. They just think in what is. And there's probably like a strong majority, it's definitely over 50% of people where all they really see or think in is what is. And I think it's probably, I already say this a lot, but I think it's why the elites justify what they're doing, as much as GPT likes to make me think that I'm giving them too much credit, because really, they could, like, GPT thinks they have no idea what they're doing, but I don't know. I think I would hope that the elites have like some kind of philosophy behind them. There's some kind of like merit or moral to what they're doing, even though it's sketchy. It's, is there some merit or moral? I would hope so. I would really hope so. But GPT seems to think I'm actually over-rationalizing them, and they really have no idea what is going on and all that stuff. It's just like, yeah, it is what it is. Sorry, thinking about something else randomly. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna feed, because the thing is though, with GPT's verdict of me being in the 99th percentile, I mean, even somebody in the 99th percentile, they're gonna have rough patches. And it even said that a lot of people whose careers are in speaking do not speak as much as me. So, well, it's especially because it's all off the cuff. I mean, you have to imagine, like, it would actually be a million times easier for me to talk and talk longer if I was talking about things. So, for example, if I was a news reporter and I had some type of news that I was reacting to, I could really talk a long time if there was something in front of me to talk about. I guess the challenge is that I don't have anything in front of me to talk about. It's like I am very much off the dome riffing about absolutely nothing. Like, there's no prompt given. I think that's like the real distinguisher, because when there is a prompt given, it's even easier. Like, I almost wanted to say, like, for a second, oh, well, maybe this isn't good, because what if I'm overtraining my brain to just be riffing all the time, and then I lose the ability to respond to prompts? I don't really think that's happened. It would be interesting to see what GPT thinks of that. I don't, like, I have a feeling my intuition is correct here, where it's like, actually what ends up happening, and what I've noticed, is that my prompt responses improve. They definitely improve as a result of more of this kind of riffing. Okay, like they improve. It's not like the brain shifts to only being able to riff, and then now when you go back to having to talk about a thing, now it's like a disaster. I don't think that's what happens. I could be wrong. I'd be curious to see what GPT says, but it definitely seems like it's more the case that when you get used to communicating with zero thing in front of you, it just makes you that much better when there is something in front of you, right? So I don't think there's like a concern of that muscle being gone at all. Again, like I said, a lot of this is really rough. I don't really think what we're seeing here is my maximum potential, because presumably if I was sitting in a studio, sitting, not walking, not driving, and getting, like, really having time to have a show, just sit and think and talk, like, the performance would be better. And so if GPT, I don't even know if GPT is really like taking that into account, because all these recordings are either while driving or they're while walking. I'm never even doing like sitting recordings, which are way easier in my experience. Like when I did a couple of the sitting videos, which I had hoped to do more, but I just haven't been able to do that. If I wasn't working, I'm sure I would, but just haven't been able to bring myself to do that. But the sitting videos, like, I can obviously, at least I feel like I can talk more and better. But the main thing is, again, like the scattered nature of my speech. That always is kind of the main, like, it's pretty difficult for me to speak in an organized way. And I mean, I don't know. I guess it would be good for me to do more script reading. I wanted to read books. I wanted to get into doing that. And I probably will. Or different, like, GPT prompts or things that are, like, I don't know, it's just good to record. And I think read aloud, there's probably a very different neurological difference between, there's probably a very different neurological difference between reading aloud and just reading to yourself, like I just think there's gotta be like a huge difference in that regard. And I've always loved reading aloud. Honestly, reading to myself, I mean, I do it a lot, so actually I'm not even going to say I don't like it. But I don't read like to read. I read, the GPT prompts or the texts, So it's interesting. I mean, I've been reading so much more since GPT has been in the picture. Like I just have been, and I think that's been a really good thing for me, because I don't know. I mean, it's not like I never just wasn't reading. I always was like enjoyed reading articles and things like that. But yeah, again, like books, I sadly have not really read books, which I wish I would do more of that. But for now, I think reading more in GPT, I mean, I think it's improving things like a lot. Like I can tell my word retrieval, my word usage is probably better. I think a lot of stuff has improved due to having GPT as an outlet, as a thing to do. Whereas before there wasn't really anything that fit the mold. So again, I know it's hard to say. I know it's a bit like over optimistic and like manic to just be like, oh my gosh, like my brain is perfect for AI, and everything was terrible before, but in 10 years I'm going to be so happy. I mean, it's possible that would be true, but I'm obviously over exaggerating when I'm explaining that to sort of outline the extremity, and yeah, it's just like I don't even know. You know what I mean? I just don't even know. Sorry, concentrating. Anyways. I have no idea what I was just talking about. Oh yeah, but that's the thing. So, I don't think this is what I was just talking about, but I'll rewind to it. When GPT put me in 99th percentile, I mean, doesn't really have a lot of data for that. I'm always concerned about percent. I guess I just like categorization of people, but at least based on, I mean, we already know this to be true, that I mean, my job should be like a radio host or a podcast host, or like, it's just what I should do. There's no reason why that shouldn't be my job. It's just probably going to get replaced by AI. So I would guess that whatever my job should be would maybe be the next thing, whatever that would be. Like, I don't really know, but it might not even exist right now, because I feel like my life path, it's so aggressively future oriented and future slanted. For me to think that I'm going to be a YouTuber or a live streamer, I'm not sure. I think maybe I would have been if I was born 10 years earlier, but considering where I'm at now, I almost wonder if there's going to be some next communicative threshold to hit. It's a strange thing. It's a strange thing to think about. But I wonder if GPT has any ideas about that, about like what would vocal like speaking occupations look like in a post podcast, post radio world where humans speaking are just inferior to an AI's potential. You're going to have hyper-personalized content. You're probably going to have AI voices able to be generated more perfectly and customly than a human voice, right? I mean, a human voice, you have a lot of nuances to the setup. You have, did the person who recorded it record with a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone? How close were they? How close were they to the microphone? How much proximity effect did they get? What was the way the show equalized the audio? What effects had the noise gating have? Was it more compressed? Was it less compressed? How good were the room acoustics? All the values I just listed, at some point in the future, you would be able to have an AI voice where you could perfectly have all these things adjusted. You could have a voice that is specifically perfect to your ears. You don't need to listen to Joe Rogan. You would be able to listen to a person not only physically to your perfection, but obviously most importantly, auditory to your perfection. So you have like, everybody has their own AI guardian kind of to listen to. And I'm sure this is going to be the case in the future, because why would we support other humans when you're just going to have like superior robots that like live in the cloud or whatever, and are like better at giving, I mean, already GPT 5.1, better at giving advice than any human. This is just the year 2025. What's 2035 going to look like? You know? So, yeah, I mean, it's important. This stuff I'm talking about, it's pretty important. So what my question to GPT is 10 years from now, what would vocally gifted humans be doing? My best guess is some kind of person, like maybe I'd be working on the back end, since I would assume obviously my communicative language vocal is my expertise. I mean, my expertise could be elsewhere, but I kind of have all my eggs in one basket, sadly. So is there going to be people working behind the scenes, just kind of like trying to have like a human interfacing, or like a human element in the maintenance and of all these different like AI voices or something? Would my ability with language or conversation, would it somehow fit into like a high tech kind of thing? Because that's kind of the thing. I mean, a lot of people who are nerdy, they're not always very speaky. I don't know if that's true or not. GPT, double check me. But I feel like a lot of times nerds are not always the greatest when it comes to articulation. And it's possible that me having that ability, as well as being nerdy, could be a help. It could be. I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to think, like, maybe you need some specially suited people working behind the scenes, monitoring the, everybody's AI guardian or something, and that is somebody who needs to be like a speaker, right? There's like, I think a lot of potential there. There's totally a lot of potential there. So I mean, I just think it's interesting, like, to think about. And I'm hoping GPT will have an answer, but I don't really know. But that's kind of my hunch. My hunch is that I don't know that I'm going to be a YouTuber or a podcaster or really anything like that, because by the time I would be in my prime, we may already be in the next stage of that. I mean, you did have radio hosts for a while, and I guess a podcast really is just the next version of radio. But what would be the true next step, and kind of what I'm talking about? Because what I'm talking about, I think it would mostly be coders. I mean, what happens to actual human verbal talent in a world like that? Does it just become mental talent? Could we make the argument, even though this is impossible to gauge, that it's actually my brain is stronger than my vocal, and that maybe once we're at that point, my brain is going to be unleashed, and that is going to be useful for kind of like working behind the scenes, maintaining a lot of these complicated AI systems? Because it's possible that my voice could just be a reflection of my brain's capability. And in that case, it may not be my mouth, but my mind that is the gift. And there could be some kind of story or some kind of destiny written in that way, where it's like, it's that transition where I'm just using a microphone and I'm using my mouth now, but what if it's really my mind? And that's something that's even harder to gauge or know, because I've never had my mind recorded or tested. And I probably won't for another, I mean, at least 10 years, right? Like possibly longer before a Neuralink would really be in there. But I think that's absolutely possible. That what if that's the whole story, is that conversion from, my mind is actually this mega super weapon, and right now my mouth is the biggest manifestation of my mind. But what if we could cut the microphone out and grab directly the mind? Anyways, it's been Schla, and now it's time to buy Schla. So See you, schla.